What's up, everyone? It's Ruby here, bringing you guys another video. Today, I am presenting to you my Mass Effect live action show Dreamcast. This is like if we had a really big budget, we could hire whoever we want, and also including my story pitch for what the Mass Effect live-action TV show would be about. And the answer is the First Contact War. It would be about the First Contact War. So, for those of you who don't know what the First Contact War is, it's basically the events that happened before Mass Effect 1 that led to humans discovering aliens exist, that led to an all-out war between the humans and aliens and all different species. And yeah. So basically, I don't think that a live-action Mass Effect Trilogy would do any good. I 1000% that everyone would be on board of a First Contact War telling, because it's not going to happen in a video game. I think it might have happened in the comics, but I don't know if this. I've never looked at the comic books. But either way, here is my Dreamcast for this particular show. So, this would presumably be on, like, HBO Max, probably, because HBO would probably be able to fund this project. And I think it would make sense, although it could also be, I suppose, Disney Plus, but I would be very hesitant about giving Disney this license because I feel like they would butcher it at 1000%. So, here's my Dreamcast for Mass Effect. Let's start off with Admiral Hackett, who will be played by Henry Cavill. Now, because this is the First Contact War, it would be a young Admiral Hackett. Admiral Hackett is about, I think, 30 years older than Shepard. Shepard, by this point, I think would be a teenager. I could be wrong. But she's not yet... I don't think she's had accused yet, and I think she's still kind of training to be like an N7 soldier and stuff like that. So that's kind of what I base this concept around. I could be wrong about the timeline, so maybe this cast wouldn't necessarily work, but here it is. Then I would have Elizabeth Olsen as a young Liara to Sony. I feel like she could easily pull it off. She's a wonderful actress, and we do want her to look a little bit younger. She wouldn't be a kid because Asari's age like differently, but she would be younger than she is in Mass Effect 1 for sure. So about 30 years younger, I suppose. I guess that doesn't really make a difference for Asari's, but either way, I think she would be perfect for the role. I definitely think she would be able to deliver as the artist. Then I would have Keith Powers as Captain Anderson, because Captain Anderson would be younger at this point. He wouldn't be too young, but he would be young enough to where he could be like young looking. So that is who I would cast as Captain Anderson, and he looks a lot like the Keith David that would eventually become an older Anderson. Then I would have Naomi Scott as a young Aria to look. I mean, to be fair, Aria to look wouldn't be that young. I think she would be about as old as Liara is in the first Mass Effect game. Maybe a little bit older than that. So I feel like Naomi Scott would really be able to fit that role perfectly. And she has amazing acting chops as well, so she would be able to really pull that off, I think. Then I would have Javicia Leslie as Councilor Tevos, who would also be a little bit younger than she is. Although she wouldn't be too much younger. So maybe we could go for an older actress. I think that Javicia would be able to kind of pull the Tevos kind of attitude off and kind of have that dynamic between... Because remember, we would have to have this dynamic between Naomi Scott and Councilor Tevos and kind of show why, you know, people revere Aria, including the counselor. So that would be kind of that angle. We could even have kind of a romantic angle in a sense. Well, not necessarily romantic, but more like like dominant slash submissive. But basically, we would really want to see that power dynamic. We would really want to see two actresses who have that kind of, that really are able to capture those characters as they are. Then I would have Ella Basco be a young Ashley Williams. She was in, for those of you who don't know who she is, she was in Birds of Prey, like the movie. I definitely think going in, I've always seen Ashley as Asian, like some type of Asian. In this case, it would be Korean American. Actually, I mean, Ella is part Korean, part Filipino. But I think that would definitely be a very smart way to go about Ashley's character. And then we would have Song Kong be General Williams. That's the guy from Fast and Furious. Definitely think he could pull off a good general, a kind of failed general. And I definitely think that we should kind of look into the Williams story, because there's a lot that can be pulled from in that angle. So I think that while the story would be more focused on Admiral Hackett, it could also kind of focus a little bit more on General Williams as well, kind of showing the dynamics and the difference of characters and what exactly went wrong with the First Contact War, and even showing the surrender that happened that ruined the Williams name for a long time. Then I would have Julianne Moore be Hannah Shepard. Hannah Shepard is Spacer Shepard's mother. But no matter what background Shepard comes from, you can include Hannah Shepard anyways, because she can still be Shepard's mom. We just don't have that backstory yet. So basically we could show Hannah Shepard either dying in the First Contact War and therefore making Shepard an orphan, therefore turning her into an Earthborn Shepard, or we could have Hannah survive, kind of fighting alongside Admiral Hackett and Captain Anderson, and just being that kind of figure for Shepard. I think either one could work, but either way, I think it definitely has to be Julianne Moore for that role. She would do an amazing job. And if you've seen her works, you know she can act. You know she can act in that role specifically. And I think it would be perfect for her to be Hannah Shepard. And then, last but not least, we have the young Commander Shepard. Definitely would be young. I think she would be like 15, I think. But either way, she'll be young, so we do want to go with a young-looking actress. So I would go with Sophia Lillis. She's redheaded, she can act, and she was in, I think she was in Young Sheldon. I could be wrong, but I definitely think that this cast would be able to deliver the story that we want to tell, and that is a young Shepard being mentored by Hackett and Admiral Anderson, and Admiral Hackett and Captain Anderson, and kind of showing how much of like father figures these characters are. So basically Hackett would kind of be almost raising Shepard, and Anderson would be right there with her as well. So we really get this idea of how we led up to Mass Effect 1. And I definitely think First Contact War makes sense for a TV aspect. It's very much like every other like kind of sci-fi show and movie, but it would be more focused on Mass Effect. We would have a bunch of Asari. We would have Athena and Nezi, Benezia. We would show the dynamics. I don't have those people casted because I think it would really be dependent on the direction that we end up going with the story. As to the people that I would hire, I would 1000% look to Michael Gambon to lead this show, because he knows these characters, he knows what he would do with them, and he has an amazing grasp of these characters, and I feel like he would be able to really pull off either producing this show or even directing this show potentially. I know it's a very different role from what he normally does, but I feel like the only way you would get this to be authentically Mass Effect is if you have those original employees work on the show. So basically what I would do is a BioWare, kind of what Cyberpunk did with Trigger, working with Trigger and CDPR to make Cyberpunk the show. So I would do like a BioWare, I don't know, I'm sure that like maybe a BioWare and Warner Bros. So we could have the HBO Max combo. I feel like they would be able to pull it off. I mean, you could even potentially have some of the like the more well-known Warner Bros. Directors kind of do the movie. But I guess it depends on, again, kind of the direction that we're going with. I know there's a lot more characters that would need to be casted as well. We could potentially set up those storylines. But this is kind of the direction that I would go. So, what do you guys think? Comment down below your thoughts. Leave a like on this video if you guys enjoyed it. And subscribe for more content like this. I definitely plan to do more of these, like, video game or even book Dreamcasts and kind of showing who I would pick to be these characters and how I would tell these stories as well. Thank you guys so much for stopping by. Hope to see you guys in the future. And peace out, guys. It's been a blast to catch you guys next time. Bye!